Have you ever felt like everything changed almost overnight after 50? Your energy, your strength, your recovery? Because if you have, you're not imagining that. How do you picture transformation after 50? Is it a complete overhaul, more muscle, six-pack abs, cosmetic surgery? Or is it something smaller, more like a simple bathroom remodel, changing what needs to be changed and leaving the rest alone? Because there's something interesting that happens as we get older. It doesn't feel gradual. It often feels like a sudden shift. You wake up one day and your energy is different, your strength is different, your recovery is different. And if we're being honest, it's easy to start wondering, is this just how it goes now? But here's what's interesting. There's actually some science behind that feeling. Researchers at Stanford looked at thousands of different molecules in the body, hormones, proteins, metabolic markers, even the microbiome. And what they found was pretty surprising. Aging doesn't just happen in a straight line. It happens in bursts, two major ones in particular, once around your mid-40s and again in your early 60s, which means we may not just slowly decline year after year, but rather go through periods of rapid change at different points in our lives. And that explains why, for a lot of people, things can suddenly feel different. Muscle, metabolism, cardiovascular health, even how your body handles caffeine or alcohol, all those things can start to shift. So if you've ever felt like everything changed all at once, you might not be imagining that. Something may be changing under the surface. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had a completely different kind of shift. Not with our health, but with our garage gym. A few years ago, we had a can of paint fall out of a cabinet with a little help from me, and it didn't just spill, it exploded across about 15 feet of carpet. And for 2 years, we just lived with it, worked out on it, walked over it, ignored it. Until about a month ago, my wife and I were standing in there, just staring at it, and we asked ourselves a simple question. Why are we tolerating this? So we talked about redoing the whole floor. New carpet, new surface, spending a couple of $1,000s maybe. And then we stopped and looked at each other and realized it's a garage. It's not a grand ballroom. So instead we went online and spent about 80 bucks. And we bought some rubber gym tiles. And in a couple of hours, something really amazing happened. That space completely changed. Same size, same equipment, but the way it felt was completely different. And that's when it hit me. This is transformation after 50. Because very often we tend to think it has to be dramatic or it has to be expensive, time consuming, a complete overhaul of everything. But most of the time it doesn't have to be like that. Rather, it's just responding and dealing with what you happen to have been tolerating for longer than you'd like to admit. Maybe that's your nutrition. Maybe it's your sleep. Maybe it's putting an end to excessive chronic stress. Maybe it's that you've lost muscle and you haven't picked up weights in several years. Or maybe it's something deeper, something you've been putting off for a long time. For me, one of those things was finally getting my right hip replaced and fixing something that had been hindering me and holding me back for half a decade, limiting the time I could spend in the gym. Transformation after 50 isn't about becoming someone new. It's not necessarily about rebuilding your entire body. It's about adjusting to who you are now and addressing the things that you've been stepping over for years. Because the people who do well in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, they're not always chasing perfection. They're making small, meaningful changes at the right time, just like this garage gym. Same space, same equipment, different surface. And for me, that one small change made me want to be in here more, move more, train more, and take better care of myself. That's what transformation looks like to me. It's not always dramatic, but it's powerful. And sometimes it starts with something as simple as fixing something you've been stepping over for years. So let me ask you, what's one thing in your life right now that you've been tolerating that you know you probably need to address? Drop it in the comments below. I read as many of them as I can. And if you haven't seen my last video on push-ups and heart health, you might want to watch it next. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please share this video with someone you feel would benefit from watching it as well. Stay strong, keep moving forward, and I will see you in the next video.